me peeps. How you doing? Supernatural Neil Pick Up the Fat Lad with you here, and welcome to the channel, mother fluffers. I'm on my way down to Staffordshire, England, Stoke-on-Trent, to train with the Beast, Eddie Hall, getting him ready for a match December 14th in the United States of America, where he'll be facing his longtime rival and friend, Brian Shaw. But today, we ain't talking about that. No. We're talking about East versus West 15, ladies and gents, because dateline check, we're on the 29th of October 2024. And this weekend, Saturday the 2nd of November, East versus West 15 will take place over in Pendik, Turkey. The Green Park Hotel will play host to an unbelievable card. 14 of the best matches you're going to see anywhere. East versus West 15 is an incredibly stacked card. The pedigree of the guys on this card is absolutely off the charts. Another amazing event pulled together by the guys at East versus West. Engin's done a great job matchmaking this thing. There are so many intriguing matchups. Sorry about the pothole there we just hit on the M6 as we drive down to Eddie's. Bit of a swine of a drive this today, guys. Taking me quite a while. The traffic is a bit tasty, to say the least, and if any of you are suffering from a mild dose of seasickness from the wobbly arm that I bought for this camera, I do apologise. But we'll crack on, and today I want to speak to you about a match that I'm super invested in, and it is in probably the most stacked division in world arm wrestling, the middleweights. If you look at the middleweight champion of the world throughout the history of the sport, whilst they might not attract the same attention, the same global universal appeal as the super heavyweights, everybody loves a giant, right? It's hard to argue with the prowess, the level and the capability of the middleweight champion. Why? Well, to put it bluntly, there's more middleweights, which means there's more good middleweights. And in order to be the man in the middleweight division, you've got to be quite the man, if you know what I'm saying. If you look at the reigning champion of the East versus West right now, DAVIT SAMUSHIA of Georgia, he is an absolute monster. And what he is tested, tried and tested, battle scarred. He's been tested by the man he will face here, Vladimir MAIOROV. Now, we'll call him Alexander. No, we'll not. So Vlad coming into this supremely confident. The last outing, when was it now? I'm going to say probably 9 months ago. Let's go with that. But it's quite a while ago. And at that time, it's fair to say that Vladimir wasn't his very best. For those of you who know the sport, who follow the sport very closely, you'll know that we'd seen MAIOROV win a number of the most high-ranking events in the world. One that garnered an enormous amount of attention was Moldova, where he was dominant, looked incredibly solid against an amazing field. And at that time, many people believed that he was the middleweight to beat. He was the guy in the world to beat in the middleweight division. Following that, DAVIT SAMUSHIA has cemented his legacy by winning again at the East versus West. And he's faced a who's who of arm wrestling talent. Most recently, he beat Sasho Andreev. That was a match that, for me, put the icing on the cake. I felt that he could be an underdog in that match. I felt that Sasho Andreev may be able to defeat him. He's such a herky-jerky, unusual, very powerful puller. But oh no, whilst he was taken into deep water by Sasho Andreev, once again, DAVIT SAMUSHIA found a way to win, found a way to succeed. And succeed he did in the most dramatic fashion. The last time he faced this man Vladimir ran him close. But most notably, Maiorov claimed that he wasn't anywhere near peak shape. Because of the situation in Ukraine, he'd moved and he was living in Switzerland, wasn't training hard, wasn't able to access the same level of training. And that was the reason why he came up short that day against DAVIT SAMUSHIA. Now, if you're a SAMUSHIA fan, you're listening to the champion after the match say that he fed rope. He gave Vladimir an opportunity. He made him look better than in fact he really was. So many times men have gone so close to beating DAVIT SAMUSHIA, and yet amazingly they always seem to come up just that little bit short. Is it luck, or is it match management by a truly phenomenal champion? You comment, tell me what you think. Depending on what side of the argument you fall on, guys, is where you probably feel that this match is at its most intriguing. Do you guys believe that this is the one? This is the opponent that can snatch the title from the grasp of DAVIT SAMUSHIA, who has defended the East versus West Championship title more than any other arm wrestler in any weight division? Or do you believe that Vladimir Maiorov is strong enough and that he will go on to become the new East versus West middleweight champion of the world, and in doing so take down the legacy, take down the record of DAVIT SAMUSHIA? Where's the match going to take place? Well, both these guys known for their top end strength in the hook. Both of these guys known for making sure that the match happens close, happens tight. Neither one is the type of arm wrestler that feels that they need to avoid their opponent's power. If you look at who they've faced collectively, it is a who's who of the baddest men ever to do this in the last decade. Absolute monsters. And if you look at DAVIT SAMUSHIA, one of the things that I would say is that his record of getting into brutal matches, super long matches, and outlasting his opponents is incredible. Trace back his wins at the World Arm Wrestling Federation, the WAF, which is the most difficult amateur tournament in the world, main draw competition. And if you look at that, you will see that DAVIT SAMUSHIA won world titles, won European titles in those main draw high-level events when the odds were supremely stacked against him. When you had a situation where he hadn't got through the rounds unscathed, he hasn't got through quickly. I know back in my career, one of the major strategies that I would employ was to put the guy I'm facing to the sword as quickly as possible to get the match over with, to be giving him my number and country before they realised that they'd been beaten. And often I was able to do that, and it stood me in good stead to then progress through the rounds, taking little damage in each one of those rounds. With DAVIT SAMUSHIA, that is not required. Steel and top end power are this guy's heartland. This is where he lives, this is where he may die, but he will not run. And I believe that he will look to face Vladimir Maiorov absolutely head on. Will look to twist him into that position that we've seen him in so many times, and from there will work to bleed, to tire, and to fatigue the man from Ukraine. Maiorov, for his part, has an incredibly tight style, and he supinates so extremely deep, so hard, whilst climbing and rising at the same time with the hand and wrist. This makes him very, very difficult to counter. And it creates a situation where, for DAVIT SAMUSHIA, he needs to be very cautious about giving rope to a fresh and arguably much improved Vladimir Maiorov. You do not want to get to a situation where the guy you're facing has enough power to eliminate a lot of your strength, to eliminate a lot of your ability to block, ability to fatigue. How does DAVIT SAMUSHIA do that? Well, one of the best ways of doing that would be to look for the strap early, to try and slip, regrip, get the strap and work from there. The reason being that the strap can restrict Maiyorov's movement should the match get into those kind of positions. Vladimir will not change, will look to utilise the lever of his lower arm to create spaces, to create movement, and when he does that, he will try to adjust his position, gain half an inch, gain an inch, and then anchor that position back down again and wait. The idea being that he'll get himself into such an advantageous position that it is impossible for David SAMUSHIA to not bleed quicker than he is himself. SAMUSHIA has always outlasted his opponents, but if Vladimir Maiorov can tip the scales of fatigue very much in his favour and create a situation where SAMUSHIA is bleeding at a different rate, he's bleeding exponentially quicker, then Maiorov surely has enough power to finish the match. It's those little nuances that make this match so very intriguing for me. I love watching David SAMUSHIA. I am a big fan. I would like to see, weirdly enough, David SAMUSHIA continue his unbeaten run. And maybe a little bit of romance of that situation makes me believe that he is the favourite here. He is battle hardened. He is tried and tested. He is an incredible champion with an incredible amount of power and endurance that he can bring to bear. He may very well be, if the rumours of Maiorov are true, facing his most dangerous opponent to date. I find that hard to believe when you look at what he's faced already. Sasho Andreev. I can't even tell you how strong Sasho is. Nerdalet is unbelievably explosive and unbelievably strong. Supremely dangerous opponent. Arakian is a beast. And we've seen SAMUSHIA come through so many times with these super high level, super dangerous, super technically diverse opponents. And it's hard for me to believe or to talk myself into the fact that he's going to come up short on this occasion. There's so much nuance here, guys, that we can't see, that myself, Engin, anyone in this business can't see. These are just men. The night before, they don't sleep too good. They eat something dodgy a couple of days before. These details sometimes can dictate the outcome of a match. What I do anticipate here, and it's great news for me, for you, and everybody watching this who's a fan of the sport, I think we are in for an unbelievable matchup here. I think this is going to be an absolute screamer. Let me know in the comments who you guys like. Is it Vladimir Alexander Maiorov, or does David SAMUSHIA retain the East versus West Championship of the World at East versus West 15? What a match. The middleweight division stacked. And this is a massive test for the champion. Can he pass? Let me know what you think, guys. I want to say a big thank you for everybody checking out the channel. Hope you enjoyed this little chat. And yeah, the drive continues down to Eddie Hall. Remember, Eddie Hall, Brian Shaw, king of the table. December the 14th. Going to try and put some layers on the beast before we get there. We got very little time. Only 5 weeks left of the 7 weeks we started with. We're missing a couple of weeks in there as well, which is very frustrating, but I'll do what I can with the beast. We're trying to get him as fluid on the table as we possibly can, and Eddie's taking this very seriously. I'm on the drive now, guys, down to Eddie's to do a little bit of work with him today. We'll get another hour under our belts and see what we can achieve. In the interim, if this is your first visit to Supernatural Strength, do us a favour, hit the like, hit the share, and please give us a sub while you're here. It's a small thing, but it's big for the channel, and it's really appreciated. All the very best to you and your families, guys. I hope you all enjoy East versus West 15. It's coming this weekend, November the 2nd. I hope you catch it. I hope you like it.